Hello everybody and welcome to my 2013 reading wrap-up. 2013 was actually a really amazing year for my reading. It really felt to me that 2013 was a year where BookTube just exploded. This was the first time that I actually got to meet my BookTube friends IRL. This was the first year that I actually went to a book event when I went to go see Rainbow Rowell. And this was the year that I created the BookTubeathon, which was an amazing event that brought BookTube together. This was also the first year that I ever read a book with someone where we said, let's read this book together, and we read the same amount of pages every day, and it was so much fun. This was also the first year that I read manga, and this was the first year that I listened to an entire audiobook by myself. On top of all that, I didn't give any books 1-star ratings, and most of the books that I read were either 4 or 5 stars, so I just had such an amazing year in reading. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 8 favorite books, my least favorite book, my top 5 favorite covers, and my favorite author of the year. Let us begin with my top 8 favorite books, and in place number 8 is Why We Broke Up by Daniel Handler. Now, I feel that maybe if I had read this book on my own, I wouldn't have it in my top 8. But this was the first book that I ever read with somebody. I read this with Jessie of Jessie the Reader, and I remember where I sat when I read this book, and I remember where I sat when I listened to Jessie's thoughts on this book and when I shared my thoughts of this book with him, and I remember getting this book in the mail because it was actually a present from Jessie. And I remember looking at this beautiful artwork that is in this book and thinking, wow, Jessie is looking at this artwork at the exact same time that I'm looking at this artwork, and that felt really special for some reason. And I don't know, this book is really beautiful, and I really love Daniel Handler's writing, and I really loved Myra Coleman's illustrations, and this book means a lot to me. When I look at it on my shelf, I zoom back to a different time, and I zoom back to a specific memory, and I love that. Number 7, we have Wonderlove by Kirsten Hubbard. Now, this is a book that I have not heard very many people talk about, but when I found out that it was about a girl who goes to Central America, I knew I had to check it out because I was living in Central America. And what a ride! What a great time! The thing that I loved the most about this book was the setting. Kirsten Hubbard has lived and traveled in Central America, and her depiction of Central America is bang on. I have traveled to Central America quite a few times, and I have lived in Honduras, Central America for a year, so I can tell you with certainty that this depiction was great. I also just really love the story. Our main character in this story is really lost, is really confused, and she's trying to figure herself out, and I thought that her journey was really fantastic, and I thought the romance was really well done and cute and lovely. This is one of those books, along with a few others that I have in my pile here, that I'm really excited to reread because they made such a great impact on me the first time that now I'm so excited to revisit them. In the 6th position, we have 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstedt. I'm afraid that I have lost the dust jacket for this book, and I don't know how that happened, but regardless, this book was so cool. It was unlike anything I've ever read before, and I honestly think that I'll never read anything quite like this again. I thought I knew at the beginning how this book was gonna go, and just like off of page 4, I was already it was so exciting, so terrifying, so scary, but so exhilarating. In 5th position, we have the only series that made it on this list, and that is the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld. This is a shout out to the whole series. Now, Uglies was phenomenal in my opinion. It was really action-packed, it was really exciting. Pretties was not very good. It was okay. Specials was phenomenal. It was so fantastic. It was action-packed, it was super exciting. A lot of the things that happened, I didn't expect them to happen. It was great. It was great. And extras, I'm almost finished it, and I'm loving it. It is not part of the original trilogy, it is a companion novel, and it is so well done already. And I love that it takes place a few years after this series, and it takes place in a completely different area of the world. Instead of America, it takes place in Japan. And I love that because it's kind of like, you always see these dystopian series and like a huge thing happens and the government gets taken down. But then it's like, well, then what? What happens? This is giving me that perspective, and I love it. It feels like I read this awesome trilogy and then I get like a giant epilogue. I don't read a lot of series, to tell you the truth. I really prefer standalones. For me to love a series, I really have to get into it, and I really got into this. It was so much fun, and I absolutely recommend it. In my number 4th position, we have a book that I don't own, which is so frustrating. I need to go out and buy it because, oh my god, it was so good. It is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alira Sanz. This was such a beautiful nugget surprise. So I was just out on my balcony one day and I was like, you know what? This is such a beautiful cover. I just want to read this book. So I got it on my iPad and I read it in a day. And it was so beautiful. The writing is poetic and gorgeous and rich. And the story, it really felt so just good. Just good. One of the things I loved the most about this book was the tone. The whole time I was reading it and afterwards when I was thinking about it, I felt so warm inside. I felt so just at peace with everything. Just what a gift. It was a gift because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have any expectations. I just went into it blind and it just filled me with glee. Alright people, so now we're getting serious. We're in the top 3 books of the year, and these are such amazing books. They're books that will be my favorites forevermore. It was hard to put them in a list, honestly, so the top 3, they're technically like I have 3rd, 2nd, and 1st position, but it's kind of melded because they're all good. So let's just start. Number 3 is Just One Day by Gail Forman. This is a book where half of the book is one absolutely magnificent day that this girl spends, and the second half of the book is her coping with this day and realizing how that day affected her life. I love that a big chunk of this book took place in Europe. I love discovering new places. I loved the main character in this book. I thought she was just spot on. Everything she did, I understood why she did it. Everything that she felt, I understood how she felt. And I loved the message of this book. I will be doing a full review of this in January when I finish Just One Year, because I want to do like a duology review. It was so good. It was so good. Oh. In the number 2 position, we have probably the most fun I had with a book, and it is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This was the perfect action ebook. This is the kind of book that when I read it, I was in the world. I was unavailable to everyone else in this world because I was in this world. It was completely enthralling. That's the word. Enthralling and exciting and adventurous. The main character is so great, and all of the characters are so great. There's so many different cool settings here, and all of the puzzles and adventures are awesome. There's a bunch of 80s references in here which were really fun. So good and so creative and original and just awesome. Guys, it was just awesome. Alrighty peeps, it's time for my number 1 book of the year. This book is here for a couple of reasons. It's here because it made such a giant impact on me. It made me just think so much. Number 2, because I loved the main character so much. It's the kind of main character where I just want to hug them the whole book through, and I want to tell them that I love them because I love this main character. Number 3, it introduced me to my favorite young adult author of all time. Without further ado, it is Everybody Sees the Ants by A.S. King. Like I said, this book blew me away. It's about a young teenage boy who's, again, I keep saying it, but it's about him trying to figure himself out. And at the end of the book, he doesn't figure himself out. Like in most contemporary books, the person doesn't really figure themselves out, but they figure something out. They figure out a piece of the puzzle, and the piece of the puzzle that he figured out here was outstanding. This book is so relaxing and calming, but at the same time it had me so excited and so interested, and I love this book so much. It is such an important book to me. It is such an important book to me, and that's, I think, what matters. That's what matters, and oh, I recommend it. Absolutely, number one book of the year. I recommend it. Oh my god, I recommend it. Those were my top 8 favorite books of the year. Let us move on to my least favorite book of the year, and honestly, I only have one, which I think is awesome. You don't want to read bad books. You don't want to slug through bad books you don't enjoy, and so I'm really glad that I only had to do that once this year, and it is The Marberry Lens by Andrew Smith. This just was not my cup of tea at all. Now, the first 70 pages of this book or so are really great. I really enjoyed them. And then it just, in my opinion, spiraled out of control. I felt that this book was overly gruesome. I don't mind graphic scenes, but there has to be a reason why they're there. I felt that this book dragged on. I felt like I wasn't learning anything. I didn't care about any of the characters. It just was not the book for me. And I mean, I've heard some people really enjoy this book, so it might be the book for you, but I just didn't have a good time reading it. Alrighty, so let's move on to my top 5 favorite covers of the year. I'm really not going to talk about how I felt about the book. I'm literally just going to be talking about the cover design, because I think cover designs are important. So, at number 5, I have The Light Between Oceans, a novel by M.L. Stedman. I love how dark it is, but yet it still feels kind of positive and it's intriguing. The Light Between Oceans is in gold. You've got these gorgeous stars everywhere, this kind of like aurora effect at the top. And then in the inside flap, you have the inside of the hardcover. It's like a logbook, and a logbook is very important in this book, like as part of the plot, so it makes a lot of sense, and it's really pretty. In my number 4 position, I have the Uglies series, and I just really appreciated the whole cover design of this entire series. I love how clean and white and surgical they are, because this whole series is about a world where when you turn 16, you undergo plastic surgery. So they make a lot of sense. Number 1 is Uglies, and you have this girl under this blanket, the nails kind of and the scalpel like change colors. Number 2, you can kind of see that they have the marks on there where they want to like surgery-ize. Number 3 is Specials. I think this might be my favorite, but you have like this strong guy, like shoulders, and the spine and his hair is really kind of cut in a weird way, but like it's cool way. And then finally you have Extras with this really cool eye. It's like a Borg, like a cyborg eye, and the makeup is really pretty. I love it when a series design is done well, and in my opinion, this is a really well done series. In my number 3 position, I have Fallout by Todd Strasser. I love this. It's very picturesque, and in a way it's supposed to be, because the book is about like a little suburban American town. I love the font that they used here. I love the ladder, and the dirt is like, it looks like it's real dirt, and these buildings are all like little plastic buildings, which is really gorgeous. And I really love the color of the inside thing, and it's got like a shimmery cover. Just well done. Well, the reason I bought this was because of the cover, so that was a job well done, graphic designer. You did good, you did good. In my number 2 position, I have Everybody Sees the Ant by A.S. King. I love this cover. I really think it's gorgeous. I think that this boy is really attractive. I'll say it right now. I said it out loud. It's out on the internet now. But I think it's really entrancing. I know that we see a lot of people on covers in YA. I think that it's not a bad thing to do. You just have to do it well. And in my opinion, this did it well. I really like the font. For some reason, like, it's just kind of thin and non-important. But it is important, and it's just really nice. Yep, I think they nailed it. And in my number 1 position, I have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I mean, this cover is beautiful. I love the font that they used. I love how moody and dark and rich it is, because it really matches the tone of the book. And yeah, it's beautiful. I can't wait to own this book. I need to buy this book. Okay, and finally I want to talk about my favorite author of the year. And it's probably no surprise that it is A.S. King. I first read Everybody Sees the Ants, then I read Please Ignore Vera Dietz, and then I read Ask the Passengers. I just had such a great time with all of her books. My order of favorites would be Everybody Sees the Ants, and then Ask the Passengers, and then Vera Dietz, but I loved all of them. I think that her writing is really strong. Her characters are so, I want to say likable, but they're not all likable. There's something about them that makes them feel like real people that I could run into and that I could meet. I absolutely love her use of magical realism, which is something that I have never read before, and it was really exciting to read about how magic can be mixed into these contemporary settings and how kind of it's very themes, messages, metaphors. Oh, I'm so excited to have found a new author that I love. I will say it right now, she is my favorite young adult author. I absolutely recommend her books. I can't wait to read more from A.S. King in the future. I can't wait. The whole thing really excites me. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I really want to thank you guys for sticking with me for this whole year. There are so many of you guys now. We're about to hit 20,000 subscribers, which mental, and I've just had such a fun year with this booktube channel and with my reading, and I hope that you guys had a fun year with me. Down below in the description I'm going to link you to a few things, so check them out. First of all, I'm going to link you to my Goodreads, to a menu where you can see all of the books that I read this year, and you can click on a book and it will send you to my review of the book. Secondly, I'm going to link you to my book depository affiliate link, so if you want to buy any of these books that I've mentioned and you click through that link, you don't pay any extra money or anything, but I get a tiny commission for sending you over there, which is really helpful. Thirdly, I'm going to link you to any video reviews that I did of these books, because I did a few reviews for these books, and so they'll be linked down below if you want to watch me talk more about them. Thank you so much for an amazing year, you guys. I've had so much fun, and I will see you in 2014. That sounds cool to say. Bye!